Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game of Fans First Sports Network.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And welcome in. Of course, you'll find this action here on the Believe Network, where you do all things podcast, or even on the Duval Dive YouTube channel. I'm going to get a bell out the way there for that, like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thank you for carrying us where you have, because this next gentleman that we are talking to here, well, he's one that unites Jaguars, apparently. Of Jaguars United, Jason Trent, welcome in, sir. Good to have you aboard. I couldn't think of anybody else better when it came to battling things, and we'll get into that in a bit, man. But thanks for having you, thanks for having you. Thanks for coming in. We're glad to have you. That's what I mean to say.
I'm glad to be here. In your intro, the D-line drill where they were shooting their hands, I've seen Travis do that dance before, actually. I think that's where he got that dance move from. Now I'm connecting the dots. So
I'm gonna need you to stop lying to these people, man.
Listen, I've seen you.
I dance well. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Okay,
we are not going to besmirch my name, sir.
I've never seen you dance. All I've seen you do is eat beignets incredibly well, which in itself was kind of a magical dance. Anyways, I don't know. I don't want to get into that story. I want to get off the rails because then Travis will get on my case for not keeping the intro tight. But with all that in mind, tight battles are going to be taking place here at camp. That's right. We're here to discuss the position battles that we like most heading into training camp. And of course, Travis D. Holmes will be reporting throughout training camp. I can tell you that for a fact. So make sure you look for all of that. I'm going to plug it for you on BigCatCountry.com. And then, of course, anything that I observe as well, you'll find on Fans First Sports Network. So all that being said, I kind of went over it in an article I wrote on Fans First lately. Travis, I'm sure you have your stuff out there. And Jason, You're a Jaguar. You're a card-carrying member of the Duval Duval, just like Travis. I'm just going to come. I'm going to throw the cards out the window like David Letterman for a minute. If there's a position group that you think will be most engaged in battle entering camp, who do you think it is? And how do you feel about it? What are you looking at?
Well, first of all, I gotta ask you to stop using these old-timey reference. David Letterman, like, what are we doing here? Like, let's use some like references that people know and have seen. All right, let's.
Jimmy Fallon sucks, and I don't want to get so political.
Just saying, I'm Jimmy. I was so thrown off.
David Letterman still has a show on Netflix. Come on.
Oh, okay, that's my
bad.
Okay,
Zoomer.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
he was called, what is it? Meth Santa Claus between two firms. Is that an old show now? You made me have to quote Zach Galifianakis. That in itself should be a crime for you, and you should be ashamed.
Listen, unless it's a Love Island reference, I'm not going to get it, dude. So I'm going to need something a little more current, a little more up to date.
Social life, sir. Anyway.
But great question about the position battles, man. You guys had prepped me. This is what we wanted to talk about, and I've spent the last couple of days kind of looking at it. And obviously, being in a unique position with a new coach, first year GM, everyone's new.
Yeah,
we're kind of in a weird situation where we don't know what they want to do. We don't know what kind of defense Campanelli wants to run. We don't really know how Cohen wants to use the players that we currently have on the roster. So this is like actually a tough question. So I'd say the biggest one is probably the Ezra Cleveland Wyatt Millam, even though Cleveland, just got an extension recently. But I mean, that's one you could see. So if I'm ranking them, that's probably the one I'm going to look at the closest, just because the offensive line wasn't very good last year. And typically when new coaches come in, they want to get their guys in. And so for me, that's number one. I have a few more on my list, but I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. So if you guys have different ones, we'll let you
Here's the beauty. You bring all that up and you talk all that trash at my expense, Jason Trent. I'd have you know you fell right into my trap talking about the O-line. So they heard somebody else's voice other than me do it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, like I was saying, all the position groups are like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like they kind of have who they want to start. They brought in free agents to slate them in as starters. They didn't really draft a lot of starters week one, in my opinion. So it kind of seems like who we have is what we have, at least until the middle of the season anyways.
So let me confirm. So your assumption or your belief in this assumption is that if they brought someone in as a free agent, that for the most part you believe they're going to start, and there won't be as much competition as maybe some of us believe.
I think if you look back in the past, when new coaches come in, when you see position battles and position starter changes, they're on people that were pre-existing on the team. So,
Right.
I mean, and yes, even the Johnny Munt Hunter Long, I could see them getting more snaps from Brenton Strange if Brenton Strange can't show he can block and do what he does in this Cohen system. So I do think everyone they brought in is somebody that they look at playing more. Yes.
By the way, I had to throw the bell. We'll be talking about that, or I should say Travis will be talking about that deeply on Friday. That's a grab back question we've had out there for a while out there from the socials. So that'll definitely be an element. But I'm glad you brought up the tight end position. Like, I don't know that that's a position battle. I think it's going to be kind of a committee thing. We'll leave it at that. But
yeah, I'm actually in agreement with you. Like, if you enjoy competition, if you love non-elite play, but absolutely knowing who the starter will be in 2025, then may I offer you the Jacksonville Jaguars tight end position and center rooms, because that's one of the few places where, if you are of the belief that they're going to have competition in all these other positions, those are the two where you just know let's write them in pen. We know who the starters are. If there is a competition, it's on the backup roles, unfortunately.
Well, and see, there's some other stuff. The comments doing comments things already, which, by the way, shouts to Radius for once again firing a shot from downtown, getting it in here, wishing us well for the show before it even starts. We know you got work in a bit, but enjoy the listen back for sure.
Radius is 5 hours ahead of us, dude.
That's
Radius
right.
is 5 hours ahead of us.
Did you know? Did you know that Radius also is a guest on a podcast at times? The Long Snapper Pod. It was a British UK football podcast. Hilarious when you can understand what they're saying. And they know more about football than Americans somehow. They're the most intelligent, football savvy people.
When you got to wake up at that point in time of day to watch games, you give a damn. I could say that for your group. When I'm on the Irish NFL show, they know what they're talking about. That, yeah, bro, you're not, the Europe fans are in it, dude.
They're serious. They're serious.
No, that's a good call out. Shouts to the Euro fans out there. I mean, hey, as much as y'all support the Jags, this show has to love them just a little bit. I'll throw it at that. You know, I'm doing these comments out of order, but I have to, because Hef came in saying Hef things to appear that Travis once again saying safety. The only answer is safety. This is what the most compelling spot is. And then PJ Brown in the comments, Ransaw better be starting, openly going the different direction of Jason Trent's statements about those positions being accounted for. But let's get into the offensive line a little bit, since this is where we're at. I'm going to ask this question first. I have my feelings. I've stated them on episodes in the past, just as recently as when we had Jamal St. Cyr of News 4 Jacks on. But Wyatt Millam, Jason Trent, you really think Milam? Sorry, I did it again. Do you really think he has designs on starting this season? You're thinking no, or is he one of the ones that has a better shot because the O-line is in the flux that it's in?
I think he has a better shot when you look at what he's done in college. Now, I don't think he's a week one starter, but I think you could look up after the bye and this man maybe slated in. I mean, we all know there's going to be injuries along the offensive line somewhere, and I think we have more depth on the offensive line than we've had in a long time. You look at guys that even like Jonah Monheim, like guys like that with the versatility that he has bringing in. Like, we have plug and play guys, even if they're young, just because of their versatility along the offensive line. I think that you can make a lot of excuses for the offensive line. You can make the excuse about the coaching staff. You can make an excuse for the lack of the run game. You can make a bunch of excuses. You can, and you can do that everywhere all across the board. But this isn't like a grizzly bear mauling offensive line. And I think Wyatt Milam is a guy that could come in and be that. I love Ezra Cleveland. Like, when you look at his PFF grades, he's not terrible, right? But you can make PFF grades say whatever you want. You really can.
Correct. So, thank you.
Yeah, so I really think that he's a guy who has a really high ceiling and a high floor. So I think when you look at a guy like that at a position group of need, it just makes sense statistically that he's a guy that you could see being a starter at some point.
So interesting, because I just talked about the offensive line in this past Monday's mailbag episode, talking about Trevor Lawrence and how he's moderately comparable to CJ Stroud, and folks saying it's a prove-it year for Trevor, and my original point was, hey, this offensive line has a lot of questions, and when I say a lot of questions, I mean like 4 to 5 questions. And we went down one by one about each of the questions belonging to each of those 5 presumed starters on the offensive line, and we even have more questions on the 2 guys who may be able to step in. For instance, Wyatt Milam played tackle in college. May need some little bit of time, kind of what you just stated. Like he may need a little bit of time to acclimate to the guard position because we just haven't been able to see it, and obviously we haven't seen these guys in pads yet. So I'm with you there as far as he may be a guy who can step in, but you just don't know until you see it. But also as far as the guard position, I don't know what's going to happen with Ezra Cleveland. You don't know what's going to happen with Patrick McCarry. If we go with your assumption that Patrick McCarry is starting because they signed him, cool. That's also possible. But the Rams also signed, Jonah Jackson, and then he ended up never starting. And actually ended up being off the roster the following season. So that's the Gladstone decision to bring in a guy, and he's still not ended up playing because it sounded like it was just competition and he just didn't win it. So I'm just kind of curious how it's going to land because at the end of the day, we have 3 guys: Ezra Cleveland, Wyatt Milam, and Patrick McCarry, and you got 2 spots. Let's figure out who's going to be the best guys there. It's going to be very interesting. I can surely tell you that, but I think I'm generally in agreement with you. I just don't know where exactly McCarry lands.
Well, and let's remember, though, guys, you don't always necessarily bring in an experienced guy just to play. Obviously, you throw money at a dude, you want him to start, you're expecting him to break it. And if he doesn't happen to win out for whatever reason, and, Jason very adequately pointed out, I think it's at least the past 2 seasons and possibly beyond, that suspension, injury, something always seems to happen to this line at some point, right? We won't even get into the statement that Coach Peterson made at the end of 2 years ago, that what he thought was the full set of starters didn't start until week 17 or whatever it was, right? That's the kind of flux you've seen. However, and I've made the statement too, because this offensive line is in flux in the off season rather than during the season immediately, they may be in a better position as far as all that goes. And I'm seeing a comment here that may tie nicely into all this. Carlos Reyes asks, how real is the battle at right tackle? I just can't believe Harrison isn't the outright starter. I'm going to take a crack at this, and you guys can tell me what you think. It's not that we're not saying Anton isn't favored to start, Carlos, but the statement outright starter is also at the same time a little strong. I think he's a guy that is going to be looked at closely. It may still be his job to lose, but because it's that crowded, his job to lose is a smaller margin than it would have been. I don't think I'm saying anything controversial there, right, gentlemen?
Well, interestingly enough, I'm going to do that deep dive on the Jaguars offensive line, talking about specifically this, because it's heavily dependent upon what the Jaguars end up running. And that's not solely an Anton Harrison decision. That's a decision from the coaching staff about what's going to work best for the other 4 guys in addition to Anton Harrison. So we'll see kind of where that goes, but I'm not 100% sure that that's Anton's job, period. Like, I think this is truly one of those. Folks talk about how much of a prove-it year it is for Trevor Lawrence. Nah, man, this is a prove-it year for Anton Harrison also. I'm going to be very clear on that. So I don't know where it's going to land. And without giving away too many trade secrets, because, again, I'm going to do a deep dive on this subject.
I get you. And scheme is really but one factor, too. Let's be clear about that.
It's right? One of like 5 factors, right? So, but overall, I do think it's going to be a very interesting competition. I think Harrison and Fred Johnson are a lot closer, in my opinion, at least looking at their tape, than folks may give them credit for when you account for scheme that they were previously in the 24 and 23 seasons.
Yeah, my favorite content to consume is Travis giving half answers and previews about things that he's going to do in the future, and then leaving us all hanging, just guessing what he thinks. That's my favorite.
It's not like we didn't talk about it right before this podcast started, and I showed y'all all the data.
I love it because now we get to all just guess how you feel. That's great. I love that. I think I'm a little bit more. I'm a little more on Anton Harrison than y'all, and that's fine. I get it. He didn't play as good last year as he did his rookie year, but everybody took a step back last year. Not a single position outside of Brian Thomas Jr. can we say they played good. So, like,
Cam Little has entered the chat, sir.
Okay. I think Anton Harrison is probably the safest starter on the offensive line. If you ask me, you got Walker Little, who we've seen snippets of over in the past. And if anything, he's going to step on Trevor Lawrence's ankle and break it. You got a left guard who's up and down every other week. You have a center who lost the starting job. You have a right guard who knows where you're getting out of him. Then you have Anton Harrison, who's at least given you 2 solid years of starting, not injured. And yes, he took a little step back last year, but if anything, I feel the best about Anton Harrison than I do any of the other 4 guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad take. I just it's because it's the timing of it. He took that step back when a new group came in. I think it's part of it. Go ahead, Travis.
My problem with the Anton Harrison discourse is nothing particular to Anton Harrison specifically. It's more about everyone else's expectations and everyone else's judgment of Anton Harrison. And now we're kind of rewriting history based on that. So what I mean to say is that if you're an outsider outside of Jacksonville looking in and looking at Anton Harrison, I think you probably gauge his rookie season as encouraging for a rookie, but also much more is needed. Like if you're comparing that to that performance to a veteran performance, you'll say it's below average. But then we look forward and say he took a step back in year 2, and they're like, hey, but his rookie season. No. Remember that rookie season in comparison to a veteran would probably have been below average. And we have to keep that same energy. So I'm saying I have never seen a quality season from Anton Harrison run blocking to date. That is my assessment from where I am right now. He's never had a good run blocking season where I would even call him average. And we need that for him to be on the field. That is where I currently land on Anton Harrison. It's, in pass protection, he's good, but also that scheme covered up for a lot of ills and Trevor Lawrence's quick time to throw. So that's kind of why I'm like, maybe, but we'll see.
So I have a retort, a question for you.
Well, allow me to retort. Yeah.
Let's say you have a guy who has proven, you use the word veteran. Let's say you have a veteran who has shown that he can run block. He is solid, let's say above average run blocking, good pass blocking. If you plug that hypothetical player onto this Jaguars roster over the last 2 years, would he have shown you that on film, or was being a part of this team would have made him look subpar?
Chicken and an egg, you know, and they go hand in hand. Like him working with Brandon Scherf obviously has a part to do in that conversation because Scherf was not good in run blocking also. So you're not wrong to have that thought process. It's just a question of where does that lie? So now having both those guys on the same team, Anton Harrison and Fred Johnson on the same team in the same scheme at the same time, the coaches now can see, all right, cool, this is what it is. I don't have the argument against these guys because of the schemes or the guy they're playing next to or whatever else. We're seeing them side by side and we can make that decision. So I don't have this super strong take. It's just kind of, this is where I am right now until I see otherwise. And it's going to be interesting to watch.
I think we can move on from the O-line with that. I know that's going to be my number one. The whole reason why I think the Jags are in competition with the that's funny, are in competition for the division is because their O-line is the most in flux, because they're actually recognizing the problem and getting around to solving it. But because this is an episode hosted by Travis D. Holmes, we have to talk about the safeties, and I think there's no better way to do this than getting Hef's top 3 out of the way here. Wingard, Savage, Murray. There's your 3 top safeties. What do you guys think?
Wow.
Yeah, Travis, go ahead and tell us kind of how you feel, and about how the article you're going to write is going to tell us how you really feel.
Oh man, no, I only am not talking in great detail about the offensive line.
Okay,
I don't ruin show content, but no, as far as the safety room is concerned, I think this is a much easier conversation because I think Andrew, Dewey Wingard is going to have an opportunity to start. Sure. I think they'd be crazy not to make it a truly open competition with a few veteran faces, whether it's Dewey Wingard, whether it's Daniel Thomas, whether it's Antonio Johnson finally going back to a more of a zone defense. And obviously Caleb Ransall, Darnell Savage, and Eric Murray, who they brought in. But overall, where's it going to land? That's a wonderful question. It's going to be an enticing conversation. I actually wasn't going to even talk about the safety room originally, just because I know we already had the safety tiers episode, and we've had I think 2 whole episodes just to talk about this safety room specifically. But
yeah,
overall,
but trying to give you a bone and give you 5 minutes. I mean,
I know you love my this secondary. I got you. But overall, man, like I don't know where it's going to land with the Darnell Savage situation, and I say situation because again, I don't know if the team ends up running a defense that I believe that they're going to run, if he's truly going to fit. But you can always be surprised. It's going to be interesting, depending on what Anthony Campanelli ends up doing.
I think what's interesting about the safety position is that you have Eric Murray and Darnell Savage out there. You took those 2 guys off the field. You put Antonio Johnson and Caleb Ransall on the field. You took those 2 off the field, and you put Ray Lane and Andrew Wingard on the field. I don't think there would be much difference between those 3 groups. Like,
really,
I really don't. Like, I think the tier between those 3 different groups would be marginal at best. Now, do veterans have more of a sense of the game? Are they better at play recognition? Are they able to disguise coverages a bit better than some of these younger guys? Yes, that may give you an advantage. But when you look at making plays like turnovers, getting takeaways, when you look at supporting in the run game, I really don't think there's much of a difference between any of the 6 guys. I know Ransall hasn't played safety, but he's one of the most athletic guys on the team. And I know Ray Lane's a special teams guy, but he kind of strikes me the same as Dewey. He's a heart guy. And so like those guys have value as well. So I just think the position's a mess.
So I think there's get away with it. So I think there's a serious tier difference between like a Ray Lane, between Daniel Thomas, between even goodness gracious, what was the third one we named? And Antonio Johnson. Because again, we've seen Antonio Johnson play starter snaps, and again, it was in a different defense, but often with a lot of injuries. But often zone is zone. Like it was in more of a man defense in 2024, but they often played cover 2 at the end of that season. And when Antonio Johnson was on the field in those cover 2 reps, that's pure zone at that point. That's that same cover 2 then is going to be very similar to the cover 2 they're playing now. And if you burst those coverages, it's the same busted coverage. So I do think there is a tier difference, not just athletically, but also, filling, also not missing tackles, also having that, ability to kind of get in between your zones and get into your right landmarks. So that's why I say those other 3 when I say Darnell Savage, Eric Murray and Caleb Ransall, because I think they're just a different level. Personally, that's what I feel. But again, we haven't seen these guys in pass, so you're right. If they feel how you feel, we're not disagreeing on that totally, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's not a whole lot I could add there. There is something, an exercise I do want to go and do with the offensive line before we get off of, the show hosts fort here. Robbie Santos in the comments. Tell me your starting 5 on the O-line. And, well, okay. We all know that Hainsey's at center, right? We don't have to worry about saying that 3 times, do we? Great.
No Luke Fortner?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the best backup. That's why he can't start. He's the best backup in the NFL.
Best backup in the NFL.
I mean, let's go. It is his college coach, the head coach.
I mean, well, let's just put it this way. Just because you made Will Levis look good doesn't mean you can fix Luke Fortner. That being said, Jonah Monheim may also have something to say about that. So, you know what? I'm going to throw it to you first, Jason. On the left side, I mean, who are your duo? Who's your tackle? Who's your guard?
Now, I just got to get a little clarification. Are you asking me who I think the best 5 are, or who the week 1 starting 5 will be, or who the end of the season starting 5 will be?
Oh, well, we're going into camp. I would say, let's say week 1, just for argument. I don't want to say anything about the end of the season because these dudes, like you said, will face injury. That's going
right. Yeah. Okay, so who I think will be the starters week 1?
Yes,
I think it's going to be chalk. It's going to be Walker Little at left, Ezra Cleveland at guard, Hainsey at center, Macari at guard, and then Harrison at tackle.
Travis?
I mean, for the most part, I think I'm in agreement, other than believe Patrick McCarry until I see otherwise at right guard. I will see what happens with Milam, but that's my only one.
I think there's certainly a non-zero chance of that as much as there a non-zero chance of this as well. They kick Ton to the left side. They put Walker Little at a different spot to be utility. Maybe he's a guard on the right side. They put McCarry at tackle. That's another possibility. I'm not saying it's what I see happening, but I don't think it's a lock that Anton starts at right tackle, especially if injuries happen. There's been talk in the past of moving him around before when Walker was hurt, that kind of thing. So, I
don't like that take. I don't like that take.
And that's cool. I just mention it because this is the flux that it is. Overall, just so I can't be, boring guy who references old stuff all the time to get under Jason's skin, I had to say something other than chalk.
Tell us about Hogan's Heroes. What was that like?
I know nothing. See, he's going to talk trash thinking I didn't have a retort for that.
My boy say used to watch MASH growing up, huh?
Yeah, what was MASH like?
Suicide is painless, okay? And not just from the comments, like that's literally the name of the theme, you haters.
That's when I knew it was time to turn the TV up whenever I heard that music.
Actually, you and me both. The movie is much better. Like Don Sutherland doing his thing with Elliot Gould is amazing. But, not that you heathens would know anything about that. You've never seen Good Men, for criminy Dutch.
Lord. PJ Brown says Milam needs to be starting at either
center
or guard.
Already. Where you been?
With just one? I missed it, I guess, but that's an interesting one.
You think Anton Harrison has a better chance of being left tackle than Fred Johnson if it's not Walker Little?
Fred Johnson, if it's not Walker Little.
I mean,
you talked about Walker Little being a utility guy and you swinging Anton to the left. I think Fred Johnson is more likely to be the left tackle than Anton Harrison.
I can't diss that take. I ain't mad at that. But again, the possibilities are endless, it feels like. But we say all that to say, yeah, it's probably chalk.
Yeah. Now, who are the best five is a completely different question.
All right. Just get it out the way then, Jason.
The best five. Walker Little at left tackle. Wyatt Milam at guard. I'm going to throw you guys something crazy here.
Okay.
I think Luke Fortner would be a better starting center than Robert Hainsey.
Oh, God. Don't tell
me. I know. I know.
That, bro. Come on.
I know. And listen, I know what I'm saying.
The only reason why it's not a hate crime is because you yourself are a card-carrying member of the Duuuval Devout. You understand that,
I'm
right?
telling you, man. Listen, I know this is going to be the most unpopular take of all time, but
bro, this is not unpopular take. This is domestic terrorism in Duval County right now. Like,
listen, man,
this is homegrown.
Listen, sometimes things just click. How many times have you seen terrible players change teams and completely revitalize their career? With the influx of coaches, not to mention, like I said, Cohen was his college coach. Something could click for Luke Fortner. That rookie year, Luke Fortner was not the same Luke Fortner we've been watching. So would I bet on it? No. But can I see Luke Fortner being better than Robert Hainsey, who couldn't win a starting job in Tampa? Yeah, I could see it. So we'll just say they're tied, in my opinion, for who is the best player there. I like McCarry at guard, and I like Harrison at tackle.
I'd be careful knocking a guy that it's not. Maybe he couldn't start because the other guy's actually good.
I was just going to say that Graham Barton is freaking good, also. So like that's a hard to knock someone when they just like it was the argument that I made against Johnny Munt. When you have two really good tight ends in front of you, that if you're not starting or you're not being second string even in that situation, there's a little bit better to swallow for another team maybe taking a flyer on you. This is different when it's Luke Fortner behind Robert Hainsey and it's Hainsey behind Graham Barton, who again was a really good center option. So I don't know if I want to knock him for that too much, especially after his 2023
talking
season.
How excited he was about Jonah Monheim, he puts him in the back burner.
Listen, don't sleep on Monheim. Don't sleep on.
I'm sleeping on him until I see otherwise, bro. I'm sleeping on him. I'm sleeping on him until I see otherwise. When you have 31-inch arms, your arms smaller than mine. Then that's small for a cornerback. That's a problem in the NFL.
Go watch his film when he was left tackle for Caleb Williams at USC, and tell me that's not a good left tackle. All right, that I'm telling you, that guy took one for the team. He changed positions because it would help his team the best, and it hurt his draft stock, and he did it anyways. So I respect the hell out of that. I think he's an insane athlete. So I'm just saying, don't sleep on him. I know it's rare that 6th-round picks work their way in, but
this is a great point you're making, Jason. The problem is if his wife catches you saying that now, he was going to be in bed relatively early, and now he's going to spend the whole night watching that damn film just because you brought it up. Sorry.
Go watch it. Go watch it. I'm telling you.
I respect the man for doing something that's unpopular, for doing something that is obviously outside of his norm, especially for the benefit of the team. My only point is those 31-inch arms are going to become a conversation, especially if you're in the AFC South when you're going against guys like DeForest Buckner. And that's going to be a problem when those powerful guys with long arms and you have short arms, whether or not you have the right anchor, and you're not really a mauler, you're more of a guy who shields. That's a Luke Fortner-ish type situation. Like, I just don't see that working out well for those measurables. And if I'm wrong, I would love for that to be the case. I just see him needing a redshirt year.
That's fair.
And that's what to Half's point. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think that's accurate. I agree with you there.
And well, I think Carlos in the comments again helps us transition and segue nicely. I'm surprised running back hasn't been mentioned as in a position battle yet. You're damn right we're coming to running back because my favorite draft pick, LaQuint Allen, is involved. Welcome to run blocking, folks. Boom. So, yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm just going to come out the way. You went out of your way to mention Jonah Monheim at center. I hope you're a LaQuint Allen fan as well, Jason.
Absolutely. LaQuint Allen does what he does really well. I think LaQuint Allen might be the best third down back on the team. Can you put him on third down early in the season when you have ETN and Bigsby on the team? I just don't see that happening. But I do think LaQuint Allen is the best third down back from what he's shown in college. Obviously, going to the pros is different, but third down back, yeah, LaQuint Allen's your guy.
Hear me out. Here's how the team sells it. LaQuint's out there on third down early against the Panthers to somewhat load manage NTN, who can do his thing and be available in the early downs throughout the game and later in the season. Boom! What do you think?
Why wouldn't you just put Tootin there?
Well, see, then it ruins the thing for base.
I know, but I'm just like, why not have Tootin be that guy?
Well, can Bayshaw Tootin block like LaQuint Allen? We know he's the blazer.
Yeah.
So then I think
maybe not like LaQuint Allen, but I think he can actually block. I believe he's a better pass blocker than the other two guys that we see in Tank.
He's the best running back pass blocker on the roster. 100%.
LaQuint Allen. Yes, we are fully in agreement.
Yeah.
And I think that's without seeing. I can say that without seeing them in pads. I can compare college tape to college tape and come to that same assessment because whatever you do with pass blocking wise in college, for the most part, that's one of the few things that translate to the NFL pretty religiously. Scheme be down. So Tank's the starter, says Health. Committee will be used. I would agree with that second part, that committee will be used. I think it's to the chagrin of a lot of fantasy football people. This thing could look a lot like that 2024 Buccaneers team, which still was heavily Bucky Irving. But
that was imposed by injury.
Right. I was just going to say, but the start of the season, that was not the plan. The plan was Rashard White, Bucky Irving, and sprinkling in a little Sean Tucker. And then it became the Bucky Irving show. Yeah, the Bucky Irving show with the little Rashard White sprinkled in, with the little Rashawn Tucker sprinkled in. So if you transpose all that to the Jacksonville, then I guess
you got to forgive me, Travis. As a student, when I've learned something when you were talking, I was excited to let you know I was listening all this offseason. There you go.
you listen to Travis talks? That's dang. I need to get better at that. I
wish my wife would. It's okay though. I've been talking about too much Jaguar stuff. She'd be like, "Hey man, all right, were you talking to me? Oh no, all right,
that's cool. Can you get these bill paid now? Thank you."
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So I think it's probably going to be ETN with Tank. That however you wanted to look until someone screws up. I don't know if that's going to be a fumble. I don't know if that's a blown block. That's a big thing. I don't know what that is. Just not learning the playbook. But it's going to be something that happens that just catapults one of these guys ahead of the rest of them. It's going to be a very interesting conversation from that point moving forward. I don't know what it's going to be. I think we're all looking for that kind of same thing, though, because they have a lot of qualified and capable guys.
I mean, until I'm proven wrong, ETN gets injured all the time. You have Bigsby fumbles all the time. So until I'm not proven that, then I don't care who plays. Give me the best player out there. I don't care if it's Tootin, Allen. I don't care if you bring back Montel Owens. If that dude is the best player, I don't care about the contract. I don't care about any of that stuff. All right, just
what I think the coaching staff will care about is that pass protection will matter more in this scheme than ever before.
Yeah.
Because this team is more designed to sling the ball down the field than anything we've seen the past couple of years. I don't care who you are. All right. As much as I was a fan of Marvin Jones and Christian Kirk as a duo, as guys I talked to, this was not designed for throwing the ball down the field. This was pencil whipping with the playbook and scheming dudes open. That's what that was. This is a run and shoot offense in the making, it feels like. Not saying they'll necessarily do it quite like that, but come on, Travis. How many times on this show, Jason, I don't know if you've heard it yet. It's not the red zone package I'm looking for. It's the fly zone package I'm looking for, where at the same time, Brian Thomas Jr., Dyami Brown, and Travis Hunter are all three on the field, and they just streak. I dare you to cover all three of them. And if you do, someone down low is open, whether it's ETN or Bretton Strange. I don't care, but come on. With that in mind, if you're going to do that, you need a man in the backfield who can block.
No, I mean, there's definitely going to be someone open. It's probably going to be Chris Jones wide open running right at Trevor Lawrence on Monday Night Football with no one blocking him. He's going to be wide open.
So interestingly,
right?
Running through Luke Fortner.
So I thought that was a solid transition because you mentioned your fly zone package with Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, and Dyami Brown. And my immediate knee-jerk reaction is, well, that was actually one of my top position battles to keep an eye on. Because I've been to all of the OTAs, and Dyami Brown was on the scene at every moment. He was always the guy in the right position. He grasped that playbook and ate it up and was always the guy that set Trevor Lawrence's safety blanket. But I have questions on who is Dyami Brown, because that to me is such a huge signing, and he could end up playing such a pivotal role. Like, I think we're all happy about him being the number 3 receiver at this current moment in time, but is that going to translate? We've seen a lot of guys who just are incredible with no shirt and shorts on. We see that every freaking season, and then the pads get on and they disappear. Who is Dyami Brown? Is he the guy that we've seen for 4 years in the league, or is he the guy who we saw in the playoffs for the Washington Commanders? If he's that second guy, if he's the second guy, I mean, then the Jaguars are probably cooking with that acquisition. But if he's the first guy, then Parker Washington's name becomes a lot larger this offseason. And I'm just and we got to figure out what that looks like. And it's not because of Parker Washington, it's because of Dyami. Who is he and what is he going to do?
We got Trent Irwin. We're good.
Listen, you know what I think happened, Jason, is my guy and editor for Jaguars and SI, John Shipley, has gotten a hold of Travis D. Holmes somehow, and there's a blackmail of some sort going on, just so in some way that Parker Washington gets stand on this podcast.
What?
I
literally just said the opposite of that. I just said it's not even about Parker Washington, and it's all about Dyami.
Well, we mentioned his name on this pod, didn't we? That's my point.
I'm solely saying, hey man, if Dyami Brown is the person that we believe him to be, and offering him this buy low, it's buy low, it's some betting on himself type of contract. If he is truly that person, then this is a non-starter conversation. But if he is not that person, then again, Parker Washington becomes a very huge, he's in a huge position to really get some money as that third receiver, with those other two guys garnering a lot of attention. That's all.
And joking aside, I agree that he's probably one of the most underrated things going on with the Jags. Absolutely. But this is why I put so much stock in it. I think whether he's that guy or not, let's just say he's completely awful. Teams have to think about him as a lottery ticket, because if you leave him open, that's a touchdown, folks. That's all I'm getting at.
I mean, Dyami Brown had 2 touchdowns in the regular season, with Baker Mayfield having the best year of his life. So I think Parker Washington's going to be much more involved than people are thinking right now.
I don't know. We keep hearing about Parker Washington.
Or Baker, Jaden Daniels. Sorry.
Yeah, well, we mentioned the rookie quarterback earlier. Yeah. I mean, You're holding it against him that he has a rookie quarterback, or excuse me.
I'm holding it against him that he had 2 touchdowns in the regular season last year.
He also wasn't targeted very much, and that was weird to me because again, I watched.
So he's going to get targeted with Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr.
He doesn't need to be
Hear me out.
to make that mistake. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Travis.
He was targeted more in the second half of the season because they also schemed him up to be targeted more often. So I
don't believe
I talked about this. I watched every single target that he had in the 2024 season, and in every one of those targets, he's probably the third read on most of them.
Right.
And I came to this assessment after I watched it, and then we did a short after he was picked up, and that next week, like I was like, all right, cool. I see what they're going for. It's going to be a lot of design screens, a lot like you saw in the second half of the Washington offense, because that's what you saw in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Chris Godwin getting a lot of those design screens. He's going to run a lot of deep ends, a lot of deep outs, a lot of the stuff that we were seeing at OTAs, frankly. And I think that's going to be his role. Cool. Anything else, it's a bonus for him to take the top off the offense come later. But overall, I didn't necessarily blame Diami for not getting the ball earlier on in that offense, because they still had a rookie quarterback who wasn't really trying to. Like, he just wasn't the guy. He was like, again, third or fourth in line at that point. So,
and the O-line wasn't exactly great. So if this is a guy you're trying to use to take the top off of the defense, you may not have enough time to do that in this instance with a rookie quarterback. And taking nothing from Jayden Daniels, he was absolutely amazing for what he did with the Commanders, with being a rookie and all of that. So I'm not taking anything from him, but yeah, it's.
Right, but he was way better at the end of his season than he was at the start, and that's not a knock on him. That's just saying that different than Jordan Love in his rookie season. He was way better seeing the field later on than he was early on, and that also impacted Diami Brown. I'm not going to say it was all Jalen; it could have been Diami also, but I'm just saying that's what the film showed.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
So how surprised would you be insanely surprised if Parker Washington had more yards than Diami Brown?
No, because it would depend on the catch. Because it's the purpose of the receiver. Like Parker Washington, if he's in the game, he's not going to try to take the top off the defense. He's going to be more of a possession style guy. So with that instance, it's possible he could get more catches by extension because he has that role. Think, poor man like Wes Welker kind of thing, possibly, that kind of thing, because they're not sending him down the field in a world where Travis Hunter and BTJ are both on the field already.
Yeah, sans injury, I think Diami is going to have more yards. Because again, I think Diami Brown might have more yards than Parker Washington in 2024 solely on screen passes, jailbreak screens, bubble screens, etc. Just that. Like, that's truly how I feel anyways.
Now, here's how I'll answer your question without dodging it, Jason. If Parker Washington has more big plays, 20 or more, than Diami, then I'll be shocked. That's where I'll meet you.
That's where I was going with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was going with it, because like Diami Brown's role, like you said, is different than Parker Washington's. Parker Washington's, as much as he is middle of the field slot guy, it is going to be more down the field. And Diami Brown will get those looks too, but they're very similar, I think, in their play style and what they do. Parker Washington's younger, I believe, than Diami Brown. So like, it wouldn't surprise me. Now they have Diami, they brought Diami Brown, they paid him, but Parker Washington's on his rookie contract. Doesn't mean that just because they signed a free agent Diami Brown means that he will be used more than a rookie deal Parker Washington is. And if Trevor has the year we're hoping, there's going to be a lot of love to give out everywhere. And so I could just, given kind of their play styles and what they do down the field, I mean, Parker Washington, like you said, is great. I mean, a deep drag down the middle of the field, I'm throwing to Parker Washington. And that's just, in my opinion, it wouldn't surprise me.
That's an awful
over under.
I deep drag. But that's okay.
I got to get this on the record. All right, over under for yardage right now for Parker Washington in the 2024 season, 300 yards.
Over.
That's a good number, though. Okay. Travis. I'll grant you that.
I in my head, I had him at about 400, maybe up 400. Yeah. That's why I said over. Okay. If you said 400,
and you think Diami is getting fewer than 400, is what I'm hearing you say. My
number for Diami Brown would be 450. And that's why I'm saying it would not surprise me.
Okay. So you're not so far.
Right.
In injury or whatever.
Right.
Like Diami's misses three games.
When you
Parker
call the
watched them
same player, you mean production-wise. All right.
Right. And that's why I said yards. Someone in the comments said targets. Yes. I mean, the screen pass that goes for 3 is going to Diami Brown. But like you have 3 screen catches for 58 yards, and Parker Washington has 1 catch for 60 yards.
No,
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No, speaking of the comments, these guys are on fire. They're arguing like crazy over this offensive line position. You got Help saying the offensive line is the safest O-line. You got Robbie also defending why the Walker Little doubt. They seem to be all in on Walker. Hey,
I flashed that one earlier. Yeah, where's the one you're talking about? The most what O-line, Travis? What are you talking about?
He said Walker Little is the safest O-line.
Unless you're Trevor Lawrence. Unless you're Trevor Lawrence's ankle.
Ooh, that is a harsh criticism, sir. I didn't say inaccurate. I said harsh. Anyways, so we mentioned running back. We mentioned the O-line. I would be remiss, and I'm probably still public enemy number 1 for insinuating this. We have to touch on the linebacker core. I don't think this crew is going to be the belle of the ball by any stretch. I think this is a transition year for them as they work on younger players to develop and bring in. I think the 2026 draft is going to have a lot of linebacker focus in it. In addition to developing guys, Jack Kaiser was a 2025 pick. He's a 2026 or later player. He's going to be the guy replacing Foye, for example. But then there's Jalen.
So I question whether or not, as much as I generally agree with you, I think you might be right that he is going to be that replacement for Fourier as far as the long plan. But this is still a coaching staff that leans on playing the rookies. Like, it almost feels like a benefit to be a rookie versus being a veteran who just kind of knows their stuff and is just like an average player. And with that logic and with the knowledge of how they feel about Kaiser, as his leadership traits and everything else, I'm just like, dude, is he going to play over? Is he going to play over? Let me phrase. He's going to play over someone like Chad Muma. The question I have is he going to play over someone like Lloyd? Like, I still don't know how they feel about him. Like, it can be an incredible season, but if he's someone who struggles getting lined up in the right spots or busting coverages and all the things that we've seen in previous seasons, I'm not sure how long he's going to be on the field. So it's a big year for him for the obvious reasons, but also Jack Kaiser's right there just breathing down his neck.
I have been skeptical of Lloyd's acquisition in the first place, let alone where he fits on this team. So you ain't got to convince me. I don't know if you have an opinion on the linebackers. Jason, weigh in.
Yeah, I have a lot of opinions.
Oh boy.
Popcorn,
let's go.
Yeah. Listen, I would have felt a lot better about this position group if we didn't see the injuries we saw to Aluakon last year. Now I'm a little worried because Devin Lloyd. I was going to
mention load management. Go ahead.
And honestly, Devin Lloyd at least has shown us we can rely on him in the run game. Like, he was a missile coming, shooting angles. I thought he did well in that aspect. Ideally, you want your starting linebacker to be able to do everything, but at least Devin Lloyd has shown us he can do that. Muma hasn't shown us he can do anything. You look at Ventrell Miller, he has severe deficiencies in athleticism. So at least we know what we're getting with Devin Lloyd at this point. And if I'm going to make the same concessions for the offense being handicapped by the coaching staff and giving them a little bit of an excuse, you have to be fair to do it with the defense as well. So there's a chance we see a different Devin Lloyd this year. I don't love Devin Lloyd. I don't see him being here long term. Obviously, with the contract situation that he's in now, he's not slated to be here long term. But at least we know what we're getting out of him. Aluakon, great guy, got to stay healthy. Muma, Miller, I don't know. I mean, I like Kaiser. He got drafted where he got drafted for a reason. He's a rookie, but he's 2 years younger than Lloyd, a year younger than Muma. He's not like some young spring chicken they're bringing in to revitalize the team.
He's being groomed for command. I'm sorry. Are Game of Thrones references too old? Anyways.
I never watched Game of Thrones. I told you, but before we started, I don't watch TV or movies. And anyone that watched my channel knows I don't watch TVs or movies. When I play trivia, in the categories are like pop culture, TV or movies, I'm useless. I don't have the attention span for that. So I mean,
but earlier when you say he's being groomed, that's literally my argument for him to play earlier on. Like the Rams organization was huge about drafting guys who are older, 23 and 24 years old, because they knew they could play earlier because they had the advanced data that showed that. Jordan, what's her name? Jordan R. I forget her last name. With the Athletics, she had a deep dive talking about their JAR system and their whole scouting process and everything else, and that was kind of one of those things that was part of it. And in my head, I'm just sitting there like, yeah, Jack Kaiser. They drafted him, middle round guy, leader in that Notre Dame defense, 24 years old. He hits all the marks. That makes total sense. And that's a guy they want to give extra reps and to get cheaper at the linebacker room when they have a guy who's probably not going to be on the roster next year. That's why that makes so much sense as far as that Devin Lloyd spot. So yeah, he probably is being groomed, or maybe not even be. It may not even be a very long grooming process, if that makes sense.
What better teacher can you have than Foye Oluokun, in my opinion, with that in mind too? I'm not going to knock it, buddy.
We saw a weird rollout of Oluokun last. I mean, I get it. The defense was trash as far as like the scheme, but you saw Lloyd play that more Mike position, and you saw Oluokun play that more Sam strong side near the line of scrimmage position. It was weird. It's weird. It's hard to evaluate.
Yeah, that is weird. The only thing I can think that's weirder is putting Eric Armstead at defensive end 61%. Not to mention anything in particular, of course, but just something else that if it happened would be really weird, right, Jason?
My opinion of that linebacker room was that guys were struggling getting lined up, and they were just trying to find out any place to put guys where they would struggle a little bit less, and they were just moving around guys trying to make it fit, and they just do Foye could play in multiple spots because he just knows the defense.
That's a good point.
That's my read of it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, does Oluokun go back to the center field Mike position this year? Does he stay the strong side backer? I don't know.
For me, if you're a statesman at linebacker and you want that to be what you're leveraging with a guy that also thumps with the best of them, probably the underrated tackler in the NFL, most underrated tackler in the NFL. Yeah, you put him back at Mike. That's what I would say, and let the other dudes figure it out. I don't know. It's just my 2 cents.
No, I mean, and obviously the deficiency there is him getting sideline to sideline in pass coverage. So I mean, you have to compensate for that somehow. Lloyd could get there. I mean, he wouldn't zone drop perfectly. He couldn't cover a tight end in man, but he would go 100% quick to his spot once the ball was thrown. So again, it's just I just don't know what it's going to look like this year, which is what makes it tough to assess the linebacker position.
No, that's fair. I'm fully with you. I'm with you, and it's going to be very interesting to see because, again, I believe it is going to be a competition. Unfortunately, I can't tell you who the main competition guys are going to be other than I know Foye Oluokun is going to be there and whoever else.
If he's healthy.
This is why I said what I said about the draft next year being linebackers, gentlemen. That is what it is. Travis.
Well, I think the draft next year is going to be linebacker. I think the draft next year is going to be heavy offensive line also. And that's just I don't know that we have the guys that they need necessarily or that they would preferably want at the end of that build, if that makes sense. Like the prototypical guys.
Fantastic take by you. Absolutely. Especially considering they don't have a first round pick currently. Who knows? Maybe they'll go up and get a guy they really like, right? We've heard F them picks implied here by Jimmy Stones, aka James Gladstone. So, but Travis, I opened the show asking Jason about which position group he thought was big. Let me get you in here. Is there anything we missed before he closes bad boy out? I know we got a ton of comments here. We probably want to go through too. But
I was just gonna say, I don't think we missed anything, but if we did miss it, I know damn well the comments have it. So let's run through those guys and see what they're talking about.
I mean, the biggest thing is we're going through as I'm looking at it. It's a lot of O-line talk. We've touched on that a lot.
A lot of O-line argument. You got Cedric Holmes. There's competition with you three guys. So much Jags information, so little time. And we appreciate you, Cedric.
Don't worry, there'll be more out there coming out here on the show. And into the channel in the future.
I got one thought,
please.
Okay,
for you all to respond to. We're a nickel package, hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Hunter's on the field as a defensive back. Who comes off the field, Jerrion Jones or Eric Murray?
I mean, I think that's a much
Eric
easier
Murray.
one, from my opinion. Well, you say Eric Murray.
I do.
Interesting.
You got Tyson Campbell, Travis Hunter, and you got your third DB. Is it Jarian Jones or is it Eric Murray?
And I don't want to give away. What I'm doing as far as the coverages are concerned.
Of course you don't.
And
why would you tell us what you think?
Yeah,
that would
right.
be crazy. That would be
right.
crazy.
Well, I mean, if you take Eric Murray, if you leave Jarian on the field and you're playing more Eric Murray, in my head, more often than not, it's probably going to be more man coverage. And I think if you leave Eric Murray on the field, you at least have the option to kind of do a little bit mixture of both. Like, he's not as athletic, but he's the guy he's going to be your foyer in the secondary. He's going to be the guy to get you guys lined up and make sure there's good
he was
communication.
the best nickel corner in the league last year. So are you taking him off the field? Like,
who was Jarian?
Eric Murray.
Oh, Eric Murray, you're saying was the best nickel corner in the league last year?
We're not giving enough love to Jordan Lewis, by the way, for the record.
Jordan Lewis.
I was about to say, I'm like, yeah, Jordan Lewis was better. Was better. Yes.
All right, let me re-ask it. I got their names mixed up. Jordan Lewis or Jarian Jones, who's coming off the field in nickel if Travis Hunter's on the field?
Oh yeah, that's much easier conference.
You feel like it has to be Jordan Lewis, but that's very case sensitive.
No, it is absolutely Jarian Jones.
Is it?
I don't think it's a question. Like, I would pray I can get into dime coverage. That's a great secondary.
That's a great point. Jarian Jones would still be on the field because Tyson Campbell would have been inevitably missing time by at which point you would have.
That's a solid point. His hamstring's been popped for 4 weeks by the time this question comes up.
Jesus. It's funny though. After he got signed, I was at camp telling him, like, I wouldn't sign him. I was thinking something to Jamal. I said it to Jamal St. Cyr on the sideline. Like, I wouldn't sign him. No, I said it to him like the week beforehand, before it happened. I'm like, I wouldn't sign it. I would make him at least get me through the offseason first before. Don't do it. They sign him, and then like a week and a half later, he has another soft tissue injury, and I'm just like, bro, this is crazy.
Well, the way it was posed on the show that I'm talking about, it was him or Andre Cisco, and I said pay Campbell because we still don't know what we're doing with Cisco, and then you came back with Cisco because of soft tissue injury. What we're trying to tell you is it's a sort of a lose-lose in a way. But
well, no, I don't know, because I think Cisco could absolutely come back this year, even though I hated his vision in that last defense. I hated his eyes. Jason, we talked about that on your show. We were doing the all 22 breakdown that Jason is known for, man. If you're not going to Jags United and looking at his channel and joining these weekly all 22 watches,
Jags Untied and go to Jags United. That's what she's telling you.
But it was awesome. Like it became nearly a weekly occurrence. It became like a weekly conversation. Like, dude, where are your eyes? Where are your eyes? This is your read. Go look at this guy. You gotta go. You're out of position. What is happening?
He looked like me. He looked like me when I played in high school. I was like, I'm gonna make the biggest hit of this game. Quarterback pump fakes me, touchdown, right above my head, and this dude's doing it in the NFL. So.
Oh man, so that's it was a great time, but overall, I don't know. Maybe Andre Cisco will bounce back this season, and we'll look upon that negatively. That one down year that everybody else is getting a pass for.
About Andre Cisco this year, not even going to give it a thought.
I'm just trying to save my 2024 take, man. That's all. Because I said they gave me an either or. They said pay Cisco or pay Campbell. It wasn't a pay nobody. It was one of the two. I chose Cisco. Pay nobody
was the right answer. Pay nobody was the right answer.
The better answer might have been if all right, let's say hypothetically, if Tyson Campbell ends up still struggling with those soft tissue injuries, then paying Cisco would have cost them less money. Both of these things are losing money, but one of them is costing them significantly less money. So in that instance, I win by being the smallest loser, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's terrible, but he's on the field. That's a good point. That's
a better answer. I don't know that I'd call it a good answer or that anybody. You know who loses? The Duval devout. That's anyway.
Yeah. Oh man. Yo,
hey, maybe we'll have the Jacksonville Rays here soon, and we can just switch teams.
Jeez,
how about that? We can do that.
Wow.
Oh,
hey, listen, don't you diss the jumbo shrimp like that, folks.
Rays United. We're gonna start talking about the Jacksonville Rays.
Goodness.
Big
PJ Brown says Travis Etienne will not be on the roster week 1, which is. I mean, Cedric says something similar about Luke Fortner. Says he's going after training camp.
More sense. I've said that before. What are we talking about? You know,
Yeah, but both of those things are things that I think are in the realm of possibility. But even though I don't think ETN not being on the roster week 1 is like likely, I would say it's absolutely possible. I would even say it's like reasonably possible, depending on if they get a good enough trade offer.
I could get Scarlett Johansson's phone number without getting arrested. That's a possibility, I suppose.
No, I mean, like, come on, man.
I heard you have been sliding into DMs lately. So, is there something you need to tell us?
Where the hell?
No, seriously though.
I got
real talk. If somebody offered the Jaguars today a 4th or maybe a 5th round draft pick, you don't think they would at least contemplate taking it?
No,
not at this point. No, I think that would kind of bleep up Jimmy Stone.
All right, maybe not today. That's fair. That maybe not today, but like in the middle of camp, like in camp. Like I guess that's where I'm at.
No,
you don't think so?
No.
Here's where you have the better argument.
I don't know.
Leading into the draft, maybe, but that means he's on the roster at week 1. So yeah, no, I don't think that happens. I don't. A, I don't think it happens. B, I don't think they pull the trigger because they need some kind of a veteran presence there. That
no, I mean, when we're 1-5, I can definitely see it for sure.
Well, that's
when we're 1-5. I can definitely see 1-5, 7th round pick for sure.
Oh man, no. Lobby Wellner says, I don't think Tank Bigsby is a given to start, nor is he guaranteed to be in their plans at all. I saw Cohen use running backs in the pass pro gap assignments at time. The next guy Tank blocks will be the first. I mean, you say the same thing about Travis Etienne. Am I mistaken here? Like, am I missing something?
Better. Etienne's better.
What? At pass protection?
Yeah.
No.
And Tank Bigsby?
No. There is no right answer. This is Cisco. No, there is no right answer there. Right. The answer was always Dearness Johnson, and unfortunately, that's not an answer either. So,
at least Etienne will try. He'll try.
Yes, he will try like Evan Ingram. And where is he right now? About to win 3 playoff games with the Broncos. You might be right, but he ain't on this roster is my point. That's my underlying point. And to the earlier health point about PFF not being, able to be accurately or appropriately used. Yes, PFF is weird, and I actually will mention that in the tight end episode because I know if folks are talking. I only mention this because I just said Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's had a great pass blocking grade and run blocking grade on PFF. And then you realize, well, wait a minute, he only had like 100 snaps. He only had like 100 snaps blocking. All right, that's why. So they just avoided situations where you had to block because he wasn't very good blocking. Right. And his grade ended up being, other guys have like 350 snaps. And it's like, well, this isn't comparable. Right. Obviously, the more snaps you have, the worse your grade might be because this is closer to what it truly looks like. That's the whole playing with data stuff that Nash is always talking about. So
PFF uses a metric because I've seen some behind the scenes stuff with PFF. They use a metric that if you're within 5 yards of the ball, you get a grade for that play, which on its basis alone makes every grade bullshit because players are within 5 yards of the ball when they're instinctively recovering for a teammate. They're within 5 yards of the ball because of a play call. There's the fact that is like your benchmark just makes all the grades. What PFF is good for is snap counts, where they had the snap counts, the quarterbacks throwing yardage. Like there is value to some of their analytics, but their grade on its head is useless.
It's always got to lead you back to the tape. If your data's not leading you back to the tape, then it's useless on its own because you can just say whatever. You can make it say whatever you want it to say.
Right, exactly.
Oh, man. Lobby comes through. That says $10 million says a healthy Diami will get more targets than.
I didn't think about targets. Targets, I will.
You actually said that targets weren't your point earlier. Yeah,
right. Targets weren't my point. It's yards. And probably touchdowns. Probably the same.
Okay.
So no, you're looking. I see where you're looking. We'll leave it at that.
So overall, I think it's going to be a very interesting situation for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Core overall, the competitions are going to be all over the place. And Jeff, shout out, always, there you get Jordan Roderick was the name that I was referencing earlier. I'm just playing catch up with these guys. with the comments, and you got Cedric saying, he says, "I trust Gladstone with this franchise in his hands." I mean, it feels like the fan base is just super high on the Jaguars right now. Like that's kind of just where this thing lies. There hasn't been this much excitement since. I mean, shoot, I don't even know since.
Did you see Travis Hunter on Kai Cenat's stream?
Of course I did. It
Seen
was
a few
funny,
videos,
but also
but they know all about Kai Snat's stream.
He taught them all how to do the Duuuval. He was dancing. I was like, this is
whoa. Travis Hunter was dancing? That's rare. Sorry.
On the most popular Twitch streamer's channel.
And he became his first sponsor of, I believe it's Tote, of their brand. So he's the first athlete.
Front on that.
Yeah. Now, I mean, as far as eyeballs, listen, if we're going to lose games, let's be popular and lose games.
The Chicago Cubs of the NFL. Let's go.
I don't want that.
I don't
know.
I'm not saying we're going to lose games next year, but if my option is last year's team where everyone thinks we're a joke,
yeah,
and then this year's team where people are like, oh, we're excited, I'll take the excited.
I got you. Well, while we have these guys here, let me just knock this out, because I wanted to make sure I give those guys their credit for our community spotlight this week. Shout out Radius. I know you're asleep right now. Sleep well, sir. Shout out to him. He's obviously the one that's been destroying our YouTube comments, and we appreciate him so much. You got Timmy Devil following it up as the most active.
The only reason why he's that active is because he's throwing shade at Trevor, right? No.
Timmy Devil every week, and I love it.
What's up, Timmy?
Dub season following this thing up in the third in the bronze position. Duval, Paul, Hef in the comments right now. Shout out to you. Yeah, I see you. Nasir Premier, Cedric Green, Zach Schultz, and Storm the Desert. And a few guys that were very close, but we're hoping that, hey man, get them comments up, because you guys commenting is
Robert, who gave us love when we were on the Men and Teal pod.
Get those comments up, because at the end of the day, your comments are what keeps these things going. But most importantly, your comments actually literally drive our conversations. We just had a podcast on what was it, Monday? The short, the tight end short that's coming out.
Well, that's Friday. That's a fan question.
Friday.
Monday was responding to fans. It's
coming out. That's it. Yeah, and Friday's podcast that is coming out was specifically because of fan questions, and we were just like, all right, I guess that's a short one. That's a heck of a question. So keep these comments coming on the Duval Dive YouTube, TikTok, X, etc. And also shout out to Radius, because this man had a Jacksonville Jaguars throwback jersey with that gorgeous looking Rasheed Mathis 27, or Travis Holmes 27, whatever you want to say, made. And I'm just like, dude, I was so touched at that, bro. That was so dope. So yeah, shout out to him. That man is absolutely the Duval Dive's biggest supporter, and we appreciate you, bro. Carlos is talking about the Iron Games, the Hunt trailer drop. Can't wait. Really? I have not seen this.
This is why we don't let Travis host the show typically, folks. He's over here picking out comments, dragging the show.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's what everybody's talking about. I want to make sure I let them people talk and get these comments off. I appreciate it.
Out of all the Make-A-Wish hosts that we've had, I think Travis is definitely the best one so far. You're just doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
This is my final wish. Oh man. All right. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. I appreciate y'all. Any last takes? Who is your person that you want to keep an eye on for training camp with that? But I mean, it's coming up next week, right? Who is your one guy? If you had to pick just one, the person that you were just most curious about on this Jacksonville Jaguars roster right now.
Is this outside of Travis Hunter, obviously?
Of course. I think that's an easy one.
Yeah. I'm really excited about Caleb Ransall. I really think that his infusion of athleticism in the secondary could be interesting. He had an interesting college career with transferring schools, following his coach from Troy to Tulane. I think at DB, you can kind of hit at some of those smaller schools.
Yeah,
I'm excited because I think a defensive back is where we have our biggest deficiency. So I'm excited to see him, because at defensive back, you can kind of get a little bit more out of the underwear Olympics with outside of pads than you can a lot of other positions. So I think we can learn a lot at training camp about Ransall than we can a lot of other players.
Okay. What about you, Kyle?
I'm all in on Allen. You should know this.
I knew it. I knew it. LaQuint Allen. Okay. Interestingly enough, I'm different than a lot of folks, and I'm going with Eric Murray. A lot of folks seem to be down on him because he's a veteran and because, well, he didn't sign a great contract and because Pro Football Focus didn't have him have an insanely credible, like I believe it was like in the 60s, which is still above average, to be clear. But folks saw that grade, and I think they just were kind of down on him because they didn't know who he was. But I actually watched every snap of his from the 2024 season earlier when he was signed, and we kind of had talked about that in our safety tiers episode. I thought he played well in 2024. And overall, I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to do with him. So we'll see what that looks like. But that's a guy I'm going to keep an eye on because, again, he's a secondary guy, and that's my bias. So I look forward to it. Now, hopefully we'll give you guys some good content on Big Cat Country and the Duval Dive and all the socials.
I have another guy in mind as well, but I'm going to save that for the next one because we are going to talk about people on the bubble coming up soon enough. So we'll leave it at that. See, he's not the only one that teases, Jason.
It's great. It's great content. I love it. It's so enthralling.
All right, man. So Jason,
is they're going to hate. I'm just going to leave it at that. Jason Trent, tell the world where you can be found, my friend.
Jaguars United. I don't know. I might do a show here soon. I don't know. I've been streaming on Twitch.
Maybe.
I've been streaming on Twitch just kind of for fun. I don't know.
That Travis Hunter runs in and breaks it up.
I don't know. I mean, once the season starts, I'm going to fire the content back up, but I'm not as polished and professional as you guys. So you guys do a great job. I'm so happy I got to finally come on this show because I love watching y'all's stuff. I love seeing the guests. You guys bring on incredible guests. This
is a year in the making, man. I'm happy you came.
You guys, I mean, I've been telling Travis forever that he's the best in the business, and I'm not blowing smoke up his ass. I'm being serious, and so he really is. And people are realizing it. So it'll very soon. I'm going to be getting big timed by Travis and being like, hey, remember me, Travis? We used to be friends. So I'm looking forward to that day. I can't wait. So I appreciate you guys having me on. I really do.
It's funny in real time. I'm watching Travis's psyche play defense on compliments, just like he's talked about doing on this show many times. Travis D. Holmes, tell the world where you can be found.
I do not take compliments well. It's what keeps me hungry. But no, you can find me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes. But most importantly, find our writing covering the Jacksonville Jaguars on BigCatCountry.com. We will have you covered for all of the pressers, all of the training camp practices. We will be on the scene to give you our observations, whether or not you're in person or whether or not it's ones that's only open to the media. So keep it locked in on all the socials. Keep it locked in on BigCatCountry.com and keep it locked in on the Duval Dive. If you're listening to us, please like and subscribe us on YouTube and follow us on wherever you get your podcast. If you're listening to us, pause podcast. Click the link, man. Click the button. If you don't even listen, I don't even care. Click the button. If you are a child listening to this in the background right now, get your father's and your mom's phone and click the like button right now. Please do me that favor. Where can you be found, sir?
This is interesting how he goes from PSAs to child labor. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, as well as Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my writings with your Jacksonville Jaguars on Fans First Sports Network, as well as my work with the Orlando Magic. They're going to be back from Vegas soon here doing the whole G League thing, so that'll be fascinating to see as the season rapidly approaches. Make sure you check out that action. Of course, my work with the Black and Gold Banneret covering UCF football and basketball. The quarter century football team dropped this week on the Black and Gold Banneret. Make sure you check out that article by Eric Lopez and also the accompanying podcast where I try to talk some sense into the other members of the Black and Gold Banneret. And you know what? Shouts to the newest member of the On SI family, my friend, current Black and Gold Banneret panelist for the Olympic sports and newest writer for Nights on SI, Bryson Turner. I had to throw that dude shouts because it's my platform and I love that guy. One of my interns. There you go. So an honor, joy, and privilege to do it all. Y'all Jaguars got United tonight, by Jason Trent. Thanks for coming in. Of course, for my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. An honor, joy, and privilege. Until next time, everyone. And thank you for the mass of comments tonight. Class dismissed.